Hi, we are Optimizer. This is my team member and this is our agenda. Let me briefly introduce our project. We are currently hired by XYZ Corporate to determine the best decision for placing a new contract for the water supply of Building T. Our client currently has two candidates for the water supply. One has the higher price per gallon and the lower minimum order quantity. Another one has the lower price per gallon, however, requires higher minimum order quantity. My team will use the historical data to forecast the water demand for the next 4 weeks. Based on the demand, we will use SAS to optimize and identify the best decision for our clients. So next, Paul will shed some light on the forecasting.
Thank you, Yan. Hi, I'm Paul. Now I'm going to talk about how we forecast our water demand. Our forecasting consists of three parts. First, we look over the historical data, which examine Building T's weekly water usage from March 29, 2020 to January 2nd, 2021. Then we pre-process the data, which including combining the usage of each week. Finally, we did the actual forecasting. We utilized a super cool Python library called Autos, which is a machine learning technology to forecast time series data. The detail of how we tune the hyperparameters is in our final report. And these are our forecasts for the next 4 weeks. Next, Kai will talk about the optimization result of contract 1.
Thank you, Paul. In the contract 1, the cost of the water is 50 cents per gallon and the minimum order is 25,000 gallons. To receive the optimal amount of the water, we also need to consider the following constraints, such as XYZ need to use at least 25% of the water from the water tank, but also need to keep minimum 30,000 gallons in the tank. In addition, the water tank will add water each week because of the expected precipitation. We also need to change the treatment cost when it comes to the week 3 and week 4. Thus, we use all of the constraints in the SAS optimal model to find out the amount of the water XYZ need to purchase. The following table is the week-by-week breakdown table, and we also show the cost XYZ need to take. Thus, the final cost from the contract 1 is $33,707. Now, Soyoung will elaborate the contract 2.
Thanks, Kai. For the contract number 2, the cost is $0.12 per gallon with a minimum water quantity of 35,000 gallons. As Kai explained, this number shows the amount of water from tank we purchased. For week 1 and 2, the amount of water from each water source is almost the same as that of the contract number 1. However, from the week 3, because of the different minimum water quantity option, XYZ should purchase at least 35,000 gallons of water for each week. This results in a different amount of water usage from the tank for week 3 and 4, which is 30,031 gallons and 32,348 gallons. Also, this results in a different amount of water that is left in the tank, which is 54,418 gallons for week 3 and 44,070 gallons for week 4. When you see the weekly cost, it usually lies between 7,200 and 7,600. This results in the final total cost of $29,786 for contract number 2. Now, Piper will go through the comparison and conclusion part.
All right, let's get into the comparison. So when you're looking at the difference between contract 1 and contract 2 when it comes to total cost, you see that there's a difference of $3,921, where contract 2 is the less expensive option. You see when both comparing the treatment cost and the purchase cost that contract 2 in both categories is also the less expensive option. Interestingly enough, when you're looking at the total amount of purchased gallons, you see that under contract 2, you are actually going to be purchasing more gallons at 154,152 as opposed to 140,083 gallons. And lastly, when you're looking at the total amount of gallons that will be left in the tank at the end of the 4 weeks, you see that under contract 1, we're barely scraping by and meeting that minimum requirement with 30,001 gallons, whereas under contract 2, we have a significant amount left with 44,070 gallons. But at the end of the day, the true thing that we care about is what is going to be the less expensive option for XYZ Corporation. And we see that that is contract 2, with the total water cost of $29,786 and the total cost savings of $3,921. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation.